All right, before we take a look at the rest of the flight footage, we'll talk about the flight numbers between the two. Halo 5-6, -4-1, and the Peewee, the Peewee. Okay. My people, hello. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another head-to-head comparison video for a couple of understable mid-ranges from two different companies. We have the RPM discs Piwakawaka out of New Zealand, and then we have the very hype Innova Rollo. Rollo, not one that I have tested previously before the footage you're going to see in this video. This particular Piwakawaka here, I've thrown a few times. I've bagged it on and off, but I don't have a ton of experience with it. Thank you very much to Chelsea Taylor, friend of the channel, for coming out and filming with me, helping me test 4 different molds that day, including these Piwakawaka and the Rollo. You'll see some footage from her and from me. We were out there in a very cold field. It was in the shade towards the end of the day, and it was also uphill a pretty decent amount. Doesn't necessarily look it in the footage, but definitely keep that in mind when you see the way these fly. Take a look at the 4 kind of cast members for this video. I bought myself a pair of these Rollo. I got a champion one here that is 168. So I wanted to get a little bit of a different feel in terms of the plastic, a little bit lighter. And then also got a max weight Halo, which, you know, logic would tell you should be on the more overstable side for the mold, even though nothing about this disc is overstable in any way, shape, or form. But in terms of the actual way these are flying out there on the course, they pretty much were both so unstable that it's hard to really tell which is more so. I'll continue to test them, and we'll find out when I fully review these discs in the future. And then we also had the RPM discs Piwakawaka. As I said, this one here, the Cosmic Plastic, 178 max weight. They're both max weight Cosmic. This one came from friend of the channel, William Freeman. I don't know if he gave it to me or if we traded. I bought it. I can't quite remember. But shout out to him. I appreciate it. I think he probably just sent it to me because he hooks it up. And then 179 also on this Cosmic one here. That's gorgeous. I think you'll agree. But not quite as nice of a feel. It's a bit firmer in terms of the plastic. It's got that centralized pop-top dome in it, which is my favorite in terms of the feel. And it also had some flashing on the underside and the outside rim. That is definitely worth noting. This one was sent also from friend of the channel, Josh Basinger, YouTuber, crushing it out there, continuing to post a ton of content and stay dedicated. So shout out to Josh. I appreciate it. And part of the reason why I ended up doing this comparison video is because they're relatively similar in terms of design. Now, there's, of course, some differences there, but you can see they're a similar width. The Piwakawaka has a little bit more of a rounded outside edge there. It kind of rounds over, hangs over a little bit. The Rollo, and we'll definitely do a side-by-side with it in the Rollo review, reminds me quite a bit of the Wombat in terms of the shape. But there's your head-to-head. We have slight dome on this one as well, but this one has really nice, soft, grippy plastic with no flashing. And the Rollo, relatively flat overall, especially this Halo one. I believe the champion one, yeah, it's got a slight bit of dome to it just in comparison between these two. Flight numbers 5-6, -4-1 for the Rollo, and I think those are pretty spot on. Piwakawaka, they're not listed on the disc, but they are 6-6, -3, and 0. Now, that's a little bit interesting because, you know, the champion Rollo makes sense to be a -4. The Piwakawaka, I would probably say more closer to a -2. But it's also interesting that the Piwaka is considering itself a 6 when the Rollo is pretty much the exact same speed. So it shows you the little bit of kind of nuance in there and the inconsistencies with flight numbers that we talk about all the time on the channel. Don't take them as gospel. Just give you an idea of what to expect from the disc. But in this particular instance, I think the Piwaka is a bit more stable than the flight number suggests. And I think the Rollo is pretty much spot on. So during our testing, I would say the Rollo consistently more understable on all angles. No matter what you do, all speed levels, all different levels of power that you try to put on it, standstill shots, you know, as much hyzer as I could give it, it pretty much rolled over on all of those flights. You know, you'll see a little bit more control as I kind of got used to it a bit more. But still, occasionally you throw it and it just completely flips over. Now, I don't remember it rolling accidentally, nor did I test it to actually roll because the field was very muddy and long grass, all that kind of stuff. I was not trying to get into that. So that is something I will have to test given the right conditions to do so, a certain course, length of grass to mess with, or a field that will actually be conducive to that closer to the summer when it's not so sloppy out there in the fields. So I will hope to get that done before I actually post a full review of the Rollo, but at the same time, I know I can throw rollers with it if I had the conditions for it, because the damn thing flips out of the hand easy. I'm sure I could throw it standstill on a hyzer and still get it to roll if I want it to. So I like that aspect of it, that it's consistently flippy. A lot of times people think that only overstable discs can be considered consistent because you throw it and it hooks out to the left every time. This disc is almost that type of consistency with the way that it flips. So it's also, in its own right, a very consistent disc in that manner. So the Piwakawaka, all day, every day, in terms of just a general, all-around, straight-flying mid-range for a regular player. If you have any kind of normal lower arm speed, this thing will just fly really, really straight. It has that stand up out of the hand, and then it'll just hold over. If you want it to turn, it's not hard to get it to do that, but I think the -3 is a little bit generous in terms of the flip. I think a -2 would be a little bit closer, especially coupled with that 0 for fade. I think that would probably make a bit more sense. But all in all, I don't have a huge problem with the flight numbers, just like one tick here or there. Like I'd probably go 5.5, -4.1 for the Rollo, and then I'd probably say, yeah, similar 5.5 or 6.5, -2.0 or 1 for the Piwakawaka. So pretty much in the ballpark, but that -4 for the Rollo, absolutely warranted in this case. It is not marketing. This thing is flippy, and they're letting you know. So I like that very much. But yeah, pretty much across the board, the Cosmic Piwakawaka was the best flyer of the 4. This dyed one that I have here, we loved it. We threw it great on all angles, and it would definitely be my choice for an all-around disc between these two options for the average player, for straight shots to anything that you want to kind of move soft to the right. Probably be fantastic for downhill shots. And after this field testing session and getting the videos actually done, I'll probably determine if I'm going to bag a Rollo or a Piwakawaka, because I am looking for a new understable mid for the bag. So that is it for this quick comparison video. Keep an eye out for full reviews of both of these molds once I get a chance to finish testing. Also, this Friday, full review of the MVP Trail from our last comparison video. And then probably coming up here the next couple weeks, I will review the Gorgon as well. Thank you very much for everybody continuing to support the channel, watch the videos. I appreciate you all, my subscribers, fans, friends. Thank you once again to Chelsea Taylor for coming out and braving the conditions and being a good sport about me making her throw up that hill in the freezing cold. But we had a great time anyway, and we hope to get out into much better conditions to film some plastic for you guys again real soon. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you later. Cheers.